it is time to answer some questions I get a lot of, and it's, why can Marvel be everywhere except Disney World? I mean, Disney owns Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Avengers, so why can't they use them? And how could Disney ever break that Universal contract that's holding all the characters hostage over there at Universal Studios? Let's unlock Disney. All right, guys, so before I jump into what the contract with Marvel and Universal is, why can't Marvel characters and Marvel rides be in Disney World? I know we have a couple, but I'll get into all that. We're gonna take a little field trip, okay? Let's go all the way back to the 1990s, because that's when Marvel made some very interesting decisions that really changed the course of everything Marvel. Before Disney ever bought Marvel, Marvel was in serious trouble. We're talking like bankruptcy level trouble. I know it's crazy. You own Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Avengers, and you're in bankruptcy level trouble situations. So Marvel did what they thought was the best idea. They started selling off the rights to different companies just to stay alive. So that's how X-Men and Fantastic Four ended up with Fox. That's how Spider-Man ended up with Sony, and how Hulk distribution rights went to Universal. And around that same time, Marvel also sold theme park rights to Universal Studios. So basically, Marvel was like doing like Oprah, like, you get Spider-Man, you get X-Men, everybody gets an IP, everybody. But that whole movie rights situation is another video we'll do later. How's that for a teaser? But anyway, okay. So the Universal theme park contract is the reason Marvel can't fully exist at Disney World. And the most important thing to understand is that this deal is geographic. And what that means is that it applies to all theme parks east of the Mississippi River, basically Walt Disney World. Because Disneyland, on the other hand, is not affected by this contract, which is why they have Avengers Campus, and Avengers Campus is amazing. It's also why we see all the Marvel characters on cruises and in different Disney parks around the world. When the contract was signed, Universal selected specific Marvel characters to use in their parks. And Marvel characters are grouped into what are called like character families. So if Universal uses even one character from a family, Disney World is blocked from using any related characters. So that's why Spider-Man at Universal blocks Disney World from using most of the Avengers. Hulk blocks more Avengers characters. Storm and Wolverine block the entire X-Men franchise. It's not about the movies, it's about how the characters were connected in the comics when the contract was written. So if you ever wondered why Disney World can't just put Iron Man somewhere, that's why. That brings me to this. People always ask how Disney was able to build Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot, and the answer is actually pretty simple. When this contract was written in the 90s, Guardians of the Galaxy was not popular. They weren't connected to the Avengers in any meaningful way, so it wasn't like grouped in that family. And Universal didn't select them for use because they were an obscure comic team that nobody cared about. So Disney found the one Marvel team that wasn't restricted, and years later turned them into one of the most popular rides in the history of Disney World. Now, on my Facebook group, if you guys want to go over and check that out, we did a whole thing on the most popular rides in Disney World, and Cosmic Rewind made it all the way to the final two and got beat out by Haunted Mansion. But I digress. All right, back into what we're talking about. Here's the part that most people don't know. Even though Universal uses Marvel in their parks, Disney owns Marvel as a company. That means Universal actually has to pay Disney royalties for Marvel merchandise sold in their parks. I love this. This is hilarious to me. So every Spider-Man shirt, every Hulk mug, every Captain America souvenir sold at Universal means Disney gets a cut. Every time you buy Marvel merch at Universal, you're technically helping fund Disney. Now for the big question everybody asks, when does the contract end? And sadly, the answer is it doesn't end. There is no expiration date. As long as Universal continues to actively use those Marvel characters in their parks, they can keep the rights. That's why Marvel Superhero Island is still there, and why Universal keeps maintaining and updating those attractions. So can Disney ever get the rights back? There are really only 4 ways that this could happen. The first would be Disney buying back the rights from Universal, but that would cost billions of dollars, and Universal knows exactly how valuable Marvel is, so that's highly unlikely. The second would be if Universal voluntarily just stopped using Marvel characters. This is also unlikely because Spider-Man and the Hulk are still huge draws for Islands of Adventure. Now, I could see this happening though, but I'll explain after the fourth option. So the third option would be legal loopholes or court challenges. Disney arguing that the characters have changed since 1990, but I mean that would just get messy, and Disney likes to avoid stuff like that. The fourth option, and this is the most realistic one, Universal eventually just decides to retheme Marvel Superhero Island entirety. Now, this could be happening right now. DC is in talks with Universal about Universal using DC characters like Superman and Batman and all that in their parks. I could see this happening. It doesn't make sense. Yes, Marvel is huge, that whole area, and it's bringing in money for them. But Universal cannot enjoy the idea of having to give partial money to Disney every time somebody buys something Marvel. And I think if they could work out a good deal with DC, they could easily retheme all of those Marvel rides right into DC. The one thing I don't want happening is that they do get a contract with DC, and then they put DC characters running around with Marvel characters. That will blow my mind. I will never go to Universal again if that happens, and I love me some Universal. That would kill everything in my head. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it would kill me. Anyway, I know I get off on tangents, and I apologize. So back to where we're going here. So Universal is investing heavily in franchises that they fully control. Like they fully control Nintendo and DreamWorks and the classic monsters and everything along with Epic Universe. Marvel is the only major land in their parks that is based off an IP that they don't fully own or control. So if Universal ever decides that Marvel feels outdated, which I don't see that happening anytime soon, or chooses to replace it, that's when the rights would start to slip away. And again, I think this DC news is a real thing that could be ending this contract, and that would be amazing. So if Disney ever did get those rights back, everything changes. Disney would then immediately have the freedom to build an Avengers campus in Florida. We'd see Iron Man, Spider-Man, full Marvel character meet and greets, shows, parades, probably even a whole new Marvel land. Oh my gosh, I'd be so giddy. And honestly, this could even open the door for a full fifth park. I'm just saying, the MCU universe has more than enough characters and stories to support an entire gate by itself. Now, if the rights reverted, Universal would have to remove all of Marvel branding from their park. The rides they could stay, but they'd have to be rethemed. And that's where the DC contract thing comes into play, where I think they would just be able to just retheme everything around. But one last comparison before I wrap this all up. Universal is also using The Simpsons, which Disney now owns through Fox. That contract works in a very similar way. Universal can keep using The Simpsons as long as they keep the land open. But you know what? That's another video. I'm gonna put that in my pocket along with some other stuff that we talked about. That's another video. So that's the real reason why Marvel can be in Disneyland, but not in Walt Disney World, and the only way Disney could ever end the Universal contract. So guys, I really enjoyed doing this. Let me know in the comments, if Disney ever did get Marvel and The Simpsons back, would you want a new Marvel land or even a full fifth park? I would hope your answer is yes. Because I've got some ideas in my dream fifth park, and I might just do that in the next video, along with all these other videos that I want to do. All right, I rambled a lot. I do apologize. I love you guys. See ya.